Hey guys, so as you know, I have a blue name, and to get a blue name, I had to apply it. Today, I'm going to talk about the decision I made to apply and briefly go over what happened afterwards. Keep in mind that the application process is secretive, so I cannot go into too much detail. So this story actually starts 2 years ago when I just turned 15, and I was browsing the Hypixel forums, and I was looking at the homepage and I saw a new post by an admin that said Hypixel Mini Squad Episode 5 was out. Now, if you don't know what Hypixel Mini Squad is, it's basically Hypixel's original series. It's like a machinima type of thing. If anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, then the link will be in the description. But episode 5 was titled Helper, and it was basically just a comical skit type of thing about like helpers getting too many questions. So before I watched that, I'd seen a lot of helpers on the server, and I thought it was pretty interesting because that was a pretty rare rank. But after I watched that video, I thought for the first time, hey, I could be a helper. I mean, I knew the requirements were to be 16, but I was 15, so all I had to do was wait 1 year. And I was pretty sure that, as a 15-year-old and where I was at that point, I wouldn't be ready for helper. But I thought that, maybe I'd be ready in a year. I knew that staff got a lot of attention on the server, and being a relatively unknown player at the time, I thought it would be really cool to be at the center of attention. And that's mostly what I thought about when I was considering applying. I decided to research it a little bit more, and I started to look at what staff were doing on the forums, and I saw all of these really complicated, thought out, great responses to really hard questions that staff were posting, and I thought, wow, I'll never be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to be a helper. What was I thinking? A year went by and I turned 16 and I still had no interest in applying. I didn't want helper. I didn't want to be the center of attention. I thought that I just wouldn't be good enough. One day in April of 2017, I was browsing the forums again and I saw a staff anniversary thread posted by FlyFly, a moderator. I read the whole post. It was a really good post, and if you're interested, I recommend reading it. The link will be in the description. So in FlyFly's anniversary post, he says, "It takes a certain type of person to stop whatever they're doing and help someone for no reason other than the betterment of a community. I understand that I am no better than any other person. Although, I am aware of the amount of times I have left a game to assist a person regardless of what I'm doing. Furthermore, the amount of times I was able to help a person in a timely fashion and was thanked, and on the other hand, the amount of times I was not. I do not question your ability in my position to do the same, but I do want to give this question to you. If you were doing an activity right now that you enjoyed more than anything else and had to give that up for the betterment of another person, would you? This is one of the traits I have distinguished as a moderator, the ability to care for others regardless of personal benefit." That is the paragraph that inspired me to apply for helper. Not only was it giving insight into the true reason for being staff, it was a challenge. The post made me think to myself, am I that type of person? Am I the type of person that would stop whatever they're doing to help someone else? And I thought to myself, no, I'm not, but I can be. So that same day I went home, I went on Google Docs, I created a new document, and I copy pasted all the applications questions, and I just started filling it out. It took me about 4 hours to finish, and I revised it a little bit more over the next few days, and finally after 3 days I felt like I had it where I wanted it. So even though I was done with my application, I could just put it on that thread and press submit right then. I started to hesitate. I started to wonder, is this what I really want? I was pretty sure that if I submitted it, it would get accepted, and I thought at the time that if I got accepted, I'd just get helper the next day, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted that. So what I decided to do is to talk to a helper and just ask about what it's like a little bit. I'd never had a very long conversation with a staff member at all. So I went lobby jumping to find a helper, and finally I found Sylvester. We talked for a while, and I asked a lot of questions. I don't really remember what I asked because this was over a year ago, but he was very nice, very encouraging, and after finally actually talking to a staff member for the first time, I decided that I was ready to submit my application. So, on April 26th, I posted my helper application. I actually got my reply the very next day. I was very surprised that the reply had come so quickly, and when I saw the notification come up in my inbox on the forums, my heart skipped a beat. I was like, wow, okay, this is it. So I clicked on it, and they said, "Congratulations, your application has passed the first step." basically, there's not just one step to applying for helper, there's multiple. So if you pass the first step, that doesn't mean you got accepted. So I learned that I was going to have to actually wait for them to finish all the stages. I had thought that I would get accepted and I would just get the rank immediately, but now I was just having to wait for this unknown amount of time, and it was really frustrating because I was very, very obsessed with Hypixel at this time, and I liked my guild and all, I liked my clan, and I liked how much I had accomplished on my account, but now it was starting to feel like that wasn't good enough, and I needed helper because that would make my time on the server be actually meaningful and helpful to someone else. On June 5th of 2017, I finally got a message from Robbity Bobbity. Hey, congratulations, you have been accepted to become a helper on the Hypixel network. I almost screamed. The next step will be to get you on a TeamSpeak and go through some training and give you your rank. Your training is set for 7 p.m. BST Friday 9th. You will have to convert back to your time zone. Please try your best to attend this. This time is not easy to change, as we have to organize not just you, but multiple others to arrive at this time. Please note you are still not permitted to divulge this information to anyone until you receive your rank. So when I got that message, I was really excited because I knew I was getting helper. So I decided to make a video announcing that I was getting helper. And that ended up being the Lionhead helper trailer. So I had that video edited except for the last shot. And the last shot was just of me with the helper tag getting punched into the sky. And that's the only shot I needed. And I had everything else done. I was just waiting to add that shot when I got helper. So I looked at the date and time that the training was scheduled for, and I realized that I wasn't going to be able to make it to the training. In fact, on Friday, June 9th, I had a fishing trip scheduled with my family, and at the time that I would have been at the training, I was actually going to be 30 miles out on the Gulf of Mexico. There was no possible way that I'd be able to bring a laptop and connect to the internet at that time. At literally any other time, I would have been able to make it. So I replied and said, I'm not available to attend the training session on Friday because I have a family trip planned this weekend. I'm really sorry that I can't make it. This trip has been planned for months in advance, and there is no way for me to access my computer during this time. I get back around noon on June 11th and will be available from blah 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 blah. Ah, yes, you did mention this. My bad, thanks. We'll get another time sorted. So, at that point, I was kind of annoyed because I was missing out on getting the rank, and this turned out to be the biggest helper wave ever. There were actually 31 helpers promoted during this helper wave, and there I was just off in the Gulf of Mexico getting seasick, missing out on all the fun. I was pretty annoyed, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal because I thought they'd just get to me in a few days or something. However, 2 weeks went by. So I was actually going on a trip to Arizona that week, and that's actually when I filmed my video, The Quest for Zero Ping. But I was afraid that I wasn't going to have access to TeamSpeak or Minecraft, so I actually borrowed my mom's laptop just to make sure that if my training got scheduled for that week, I'd be able to make it. So finally, I replied again and said, hey, just wanted to let you know that on June 23rd, I will be leaving for a week-long trip. I'm bringing a laptop and should have access to Minecraft and TeamSpeak while I'm away, but my schedule will be extremely unpredictable and I'm not able to predict when I will be available for training at the moment. I'm completely free from blah 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 blah. So she replied, hey, thanks for letting us know. Sorry, I haven't had a chance to catch up with you at the moment. We plan to bring you in during the next phase of helper applications. I'm sorry that it might be a bit more of a wait for you, but I will let you know as soon as possible when we can do your training. I didn't really understand this at the time, but the staff managers are very, very, very busy people. They're actually paid by Hypixel to basically manage the staff team. So it's a really big deal when they have to do trainings. And it requires a lot of time. I didn't understand this at the time, but they can't just drop everything and train one person. So that's why I was moved back to the next wave. And really, it was my own fault for not being available. However, that message was devastating for me. I knew that there were normally 3 months between each wave. So it looked like I was going to get the rank in September, and I was really sad because I was looking forward to having helper over the summer. During that point of summer, I started to feel really sad. I was very frustrated because I couldn't really talk to anyone about the situation I was in. So what I ended up doing is trying to distract myself with really large projects on my YouTube channel. I did a huge time-lapse project. I also edited a new montage, Ghosts, which I was obsessing over because It was the only way I could even distract myself from just this longing sensation. I know that sounds weird, but again, I was very, very obsessed with Hypixel at this time, and I wanted Helper more than anything. It was a very unhealthy desire, but all I could do was distract myself at that point. After more time went by, the Helper rank started to become this otherworldly idea. Like, it was this imaginary reality, and I was pretty much living in it. I was just imagining what I was going to do when I was a Helper, and how the rank was going to change my life or something, and I was just longing for this rank. I expended so much energy just longing for that rank, and I ended up being really tired and not having a lot of energy. I'd try to just dedicate myself to doing other random projects for my YouTube channel, but honestly, I was really not in a good place at that point. During a church worship service on July 16th, I decided that I was going to have to move on from this rank. I was wasting all this time just yearning for a rank, and I knew I'd eventually get it, but I wasn't getting it, and I was just wasting all this time. So I finally decided that I was just going to move forward with other things in life. And once I did that, I felt much better. The next day, July 17th, 2017, which was also my 17th birthday, I got a message on the forums. I was really surprised because I hadn't expected to see any forum notifications for at least another 6 weeks. And it was from Robbity Bobbity. She said, "Hey, so good news, training is going to be this weekend. If you could let us know as before what time you are free this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that would be great." I replied with the times. So the next day, she sent me another message. "Hey, your training is set for 7 p.m. BST Friday 21st. You'll have to convert this back to your time zone." Yes, I can make this time. So on July 21st, I received my rank. So I finally received the rank 87 days after I submitted the application. I'm pretty sure that is a record for the longest wait time that anyone's had to go through to get accepted for Helper. However, honestly, I'm glad that I had to go through that, because where I was before, I was thinking that just getting the blue name would solve all my problems in life and like all my dreams would come true. And if I'd gone in thinking that, then I would have just been disappointed, because I mean, yeah, it's a great rank. It can help people. It has a lot of power. I'll give it that. But it's not a solution to all my problems. And expecting it to be was just going to set myself up for a letdown. So was the wait hard? Yes. But was it worth it? Also yes. Alright, so this video was actually inspired by a single comment from Fun in the Sun. And I've also been receiving a lot of questions in the comments, which is great because now I have enough content for answering questions part 3. So until then, follow your dreams!